Harrison, tell Nigerians what you did to spend 5 years in jail. Tell Nigerians what you did to spend 5 years in jail. You are an armed robber. We know it.
Hi Sleuthians, and welcome to Sleuthville. On this channel, we share true crime stories and more. And if this is something that you are interested in, please do well to click on the subscribe button so that you can join the Sleuth family. Don't forget to click on the like button. Do that right now, please, so that this video can get to the proposed audience. And comment, let me know your thoughts on today's episode. Also click on the bell notification so that you can get notified every time I release a new video. I want you to know that every video that we post on this channel was properly researched and it will always be a banger, so you will not be making a mistake by subscribing to the channel. So please click on that subscribe button now to get subscribed to this channel. Following the recent happenings in Nigeria, I'm referring to the case of Celine and Afiba and Andrew, and then Ben, and now Harrison Gwamnishu. There have been a lot of things happening. I'm sure you guys are following the story, and if you are not following the story, I have 2 videos on that on my channel, so you can just catch up on those videos on my channel. But Ben, who is Andrew's friend, has come out to accuse Harrison Gwamnishu of being a criminal, of being an armed robber. And when I saw that accusation, I am sure that a lot of us, because I myself was not aware of the story, I had to do some research on Harrison Gwamnishu. And yes, I have brought you guys the story today on how Harrison was imprisoned for 4 years. So if you're interested in knowing what happened, please stay glued. Harrison Gwamnishu is the founder of Behind Bars Human Rights Foundation. Now, this is a foundation that helps put criminals behind bars and also assists people that were falsely accused come out of prison. They have branches in over 8 states in Nigeria presently, and they actually help a lot of people in different ways. Not only criminals, they also assist people that have like major life issues, that have health issues that cuts across different aspects of life. Harrison hails from Ubuluku, Anyocha local government area of Delta State. Delta State is in the southeastern part of Nigeria. He was born into a family of 4. His father, his mother, his brother, and himself. Along the line, they actually lost his brother, so he became an only child. Now, Harrison was not born with a silver spoon. He wasn't born with a golden spoon, not an iron spoon, not even a copper spoon. He probably was not born with a spoon at all. He was born into a family where they were struggling to make ends meet. His parents were not well to do. They were people that, for lack of better words, they were poor. And because of this, it was actually hard for him to imagine a future where life was good. But notwithstanding, Harrison was determined to go to the university and make a name for himself and his family. He was a determined young man, and because of this, he decided to get a job. According to him, the primary purpose of getting this job was to finance his way into the tertiary institution, to get into the university, to graduate and to become somebody in life. That was the primary purpose of him getting this job. He ended up becoming a driver for the SSA to the governor of Delta State, who was Emmanuel Udwaha at that time. Now, this SSA was a woman. He said he worked with her for 2 months, during which he was never paid. He did not collect any salary for the 2 months that he worked with this woman. And for someone that actually was working to save up some money to do something for himself, to get into the university, it did not make any sense to him that he was working, or that he had worked for 2 months and he did not get any salary at all. So he decided to resign, and on resigning, he sent a text message to his boss telling her Thank you very much for not paying me. God will bless you. Now, if you're Nigerian, you know that that text, you cannot take it for the literal meaning. It means that he was just, trying to relate to the woman that karma will catch up with you. So when Nigerians tell you, when you do something bad to a Nigerian and they tell you God will bless you, they do not literally mean that God will bless you. They are just trying to tell you that karma will catch up with you.
I was a driver to a certain woman in the Delta States, Barrister Mary Oyibochak Bajo. She was then SSA to the governor, Emmanuel Odua, special duties. I was a personal driver, and she was owing me 2 months' salary. She refused to pay me, so I resigned. And as I was leaving, I sent a text message to her: since you refused to pay me, God will pay you back for owing me without paying me back.
So he sent this message to his madam, and he left. He said he had a motorcycle, which I think he started doing like a motorcycle business or Okada. Along the line, his boss was attacked by armed robbers and she was hospitalized. And he said when he heard of the news, he actually went to visit her at the hospital, but apparently she was already discharged. He said he met her neighbors there and he told them to relay to his boss that he actually came to see her and knew how she was doing and that he hoped that she was well and all of that. And that went by. 3 months later, Harrison got a call from a man saying that he was referred to him by his ex-boss and that he had a job offer for Harrison. Interesting. This was like good news for Harrison. It was good music to his ears. Like, imagine a young man that is trying to, make a name for himself and who had been struggling to get a job, just to get a job offer out of the blues. He was excited. Saying he was elated was an understatement. He was beyond excited. It was beautiful. It was the happiest day of his life. And so he and this man agreed on a place to meet. It was a hotel. They were to meet to discuss his salary, the job description, the things, the do's and the don'ts, the things that they expected of him and what was not expected of him. And then they fixed a date. On the third day, Harrison went to this hotel to meet this man. On getting there, he was arrested by the police. Slaps and blows and kicks landed on his body. He was confused. Why are you people beating me? What is my crime? What have I done? Why am I getting slapped? Why am I getting beaten? I came here for a job. Are you sure you're not holding the wrong person? Is there an issue? Did I do something that I'm not aware of? These were the questions and so many more that he had and he was asking. And rather than getting answers, it was accompanied by more slaps and more blows and more kicks.
The man called me and said they want to give me a job, that she's from the woman. Asked me to come to a hotel to meet him in Asaba, Chronicle Hotel Asaba. When I got there, the police surrounded me and arrested me, handcuffed me. I said, what happened? They said I should follow them, with hot slap now.
As usual.
Yeah, so I followed them to where they call the A Division Asaba, where they locked me up for 4 days.
He was taken to the Asaba police station and was locked up for 4 days. What was his crime? He was arrested for robbing and killing his boss or his ex-boss. This happened in 2011 and Harrison was just 22 years old. On the 6th of June 2011, at around 6 a.m., he narrated that some men came to the police station where he was being locked up. He described them as being hefty, tall, with muscles, with tattoos, with piercings, and they had, they had beards. Some of them had their hairs braided and all of that, and they came to, get him from the police station. He said these men were from SARS, and their main purpose was to transport him from the police station at Asaba to their office at Ikeja, Lagos. Whilst transporting Harrison, they beat him up. They beat him up mercilessly. At every point, at every stop, they would slap him, they would punch him, they would beat him, blue, black, left and right. He narrated that on their way to Lagos, when they got to Ore, the men brought out a phone with a camera and started recording him, asking him to confess to the crimes that he committed, that he should tell them how they planned it, how he planned to rob his madam or his ex-boss, and how he planned on killing her. And Harrison was lost because he was innocent. He did not know about any plans. He did not plan anything. Like, what exactly are they wanting him to confess to? A crime that he knew nothing about, absolutely nothing about. And so he refused to confess to a crime that he knew nothing about. And as expected, this got him more beatings from these men. He said they brought him down from the car at Ore and they beat him up, they beat him up, they beat him up. And then crowds gathered and they started begging these men. And when they saw that there was a crowd gathering, they put him back in the vehicle and they continued with their journey to Lagos. So on getting to Lagos, they took him to the SARS headquarters in Ikeja and he was asked to write a statement, and he said he couldn't write a statement because his hands were shaking. Have you ever been in a position where you are confused on what exactly is going on? He was in a state of shock, like, what is going on now? Like, am I in a dream? Am I dreaming? Like, what exactly is going on? So he was in a state of shock and his hands were shaking. And he said he could not write a statement. So they said they were going to write the statement for him. And they asked him to narrate what happened. And he started narrating how he met his boss and he became a driver for his boss. And they said, hold it there. Hold it, young man. Just hold it there. That is not what we're asking you for. That is not what we're asking you for at all, at all. Tell us how you killed your ex-boss. Tell us how you planned with some other men to rob her and to kill her. That is the statement we want from you. We don't want all these long stories that you're coming to give us here now. And Harrison said he cannot or he could not tell a story of what he didn't know how it happened. And he said he did not do any of that. He insisted on his innocence. They threatened him. They threatened to shoot him on his leg. They threatened to, there were so many threats just trying to get him to confess to this crime. And Harrison insisted on his innocence. And seeing that he was insisting on his innocence, they locked him up in the cell without getting a statement from him. Harrison described this cell as like a small space, an extremely small space, and there were about 60 of them locked up in this cell. He said there was no space for them to even stand or sleep or, they just had to, because, in every prison, there's always the presido of the prison. So the only space for sleeping was reserved for that presido. So he had a space for him to sleep. The rest of them had to stand. And if you needed to sleep, you'd probably just rest your head on the wall or just find a way. But it was a very, very uncomfortable position for all the 60 of them in that cell.
They took me to the cell. And in the cell, we were like 60 in one small room. The presido, the people in the cell have to lie down. We have to stand and
make space.
It was here for me. I was there for 2 weeks in the cell.
He stayed in that cell for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, he was like, what is going on here? Like, I've been locked up here. Nothing is going on. A statement was not gotten from me. My IPO has not come to meet me to know what is going on or for us to know the next steps, to take on this case. And he said he had to ask the people in the prison with him. And they told him that, see, guy, if you don't start shouting, you can stay here for 2 months, 3 months, and nobody is going to ask about you. Nobody is going to ask about your whereabouts. You're just going to stay in this cell rotten. And after they advised him, to scream for help, he said he went to meet the president of the prison and asked him if he could shout for help. And after getting permission from the president of his cell, he said he started screaming that, please, oh, please, I've been here for 2 weeks. A statement has not been taken from me. I don't know the next steps to take. Please, I need to know the next thing to do. And he said, luckily for him, one of the top officers in that prison was passing by, in the SARS office was passing by, and then he asked him that what's going on, and he narrated what happened to the man, that I was brought here and I've been here for 2 weeks and I don't know, there's no headway on the next thing I'm going to be doing. A statement was not gotten from me, so I need to know what is next for me. The officer was like, okay, I hear you. A day after, he was, taken out of the cell and taken to Kirikiri prison. He said he was taken there for identification parade. So apparently there was already a suspect from that armed robbery case that was already being remanded in that Kirikiri prison, and they brought Harrison there for this suspect to identify him as one of the criminals. Now, he said there were like 5 people before him who went into the prison, and each of them would go inside and come out. And then when he got to his own turn, he got inside there, and he was face to face with the suspect that was already in Kirikiri prison. And the suspects looked at him and said, "I don't know this man." And he said the SARS officers with him were like, "You don't know this man?" The suspect was like, "Yes, I don't know this man. I've never seen him before." By this man, he was referring to Harrison. So he said he doesn't know Harrison. He had never met Harrison before. He doesn't know who this man is. And then the SARS officers were like, "This is the Harrison that went to rob, the madam with you." And the suspect was like, "I don't know this Harrison. I've never met him before. I've never seen him before." And Harrison said he felt some sort of peace. It was like where cold water was poured on his body. He felt peace after all the heat. On a sunny day, when you've been in the sun all day and you're back in your home and that AC just blows you and you feel chill and cold and relaxed after taking a bath. He said he felt like that. He was relaxed. He was like, yes, finally. The Lord has done it. Finally. He was like, finally. He is now going to be free. God has done it for him. This guy has, said that he doesn't know him. He has never met him from anywhere before. So he was like, he's free. The prison warders were also happy for him, and he said he was so happy. He was so happy. He even said on their way back that the SARS officers even bought snacks. They bought gala for him and a bottle of Coke, and he enjoyed himself. They were laughing, they were talking, they were joking, and he felt like, oh, everything has ended. Little did he know that was just the beginning of his troubles. On getting to Ikeja, obviously he was still left in the prison, and he said the next day that he was called upstairs, to the office upstairs at the prison. And on getting there, he said there was a woman there who he identified as his ex-boss, and that she did not, on seeing him, that she did not even utter a word. She just pointed at him. And the next thing was a hot slap on his ear. They slapped him. They beat him mercilessly. And a new set of confusion, came upon him. Like, what exactly is going on here? Like, am I dreaming again? Have I fallen into another dream? Is this limbo? What exactly is going on? He was taken back to his cell. Now, on going back to his cell, he said in the middle of the night that he was called into the interrogation room. He called it the theater. He said they called it the theater, and that that place was notoriously known for a place where the SARS officers tortured a lot of criminals and a lot of suspects, and even killed some of them, according to his story, his narration. And he said he was called into the theater, and on when he realized that he was called into the theater, he said he gave up hope. Like, the last hope he had in him, he gave it up. He was like, oh, this is the end. I'm going to be killed. If they are calling me into the theater, that means that's all. It is finished. That's all. So he said when he got into the theater, he was interrogated again and interrogated, and because he said he was innocent, he insisted on his innocence. Like, I don't know what people are talking about. I never went to rob this woman. I never attempted to kill her. So why am I being held here? But that only infuriated the SARS officers, and they decided to suspend him on air. So he said they put like a chain on his chest, and they suspended him on air with heavy chains and all of that, and he was just suspended on air. It was like a sort of torture punishment for him. And he said he couldn't feel anything again. And the next thing was that he woke up in a hospital with, the doctors pressing on his chest, trying to resuscitate him. He had fainted from the torture that he was, subjected to the night before. He was taken to the magistrate's court in Ikeja the next morning, where he was charged with conspiracy, armed robbery, attempted murder, and possession of weapons. And he was taken to prison. On getting to prison, Harrison said that he became friends with the warders because when they saw him, they were like, a young man, were you not the one that came the other day that the suspect said you are innocent? He did not carry out the mission with you. Why are you back here? And Harrison said he was like, I am as confused as you guys are. I don't know what I'm doing here again. Like, I am not aware of why I was brought to this place. He said he was as confused as they were. And because they knew that he was innocent to an extent, they became friends. And he said that they asked him, like, what are you good with? And he said he was good with computers. And they just sort of employed him to assist with computer jobs at the prison. So he said he assisted them with anything that had to do with the computers. And he also assisted them, with the email records. He was at the Kirikiri prison from 2011 to 2013. That's about 2 years. And he said at some point he had to go to Ikoyi prison to write his GCE exams. And he also went to the Kirikiri maximum prison to write his JAMB. While he was at Kirikiri prison, he said one day he was listening to Inspiration FM. It was a program called Sharing Life Issues, and he said whilst listening to that program, they shared a phone number, and he quickly noted the phone number down and decided that he was going to give them a call. So he went to the welfare office at the prison and he got a phone to make a call to these people, and he called them and narrated his ordeal to them, and he said they shared his story on air. And after sharing his story, some lawyers became interested in his case. So, they came to check for him at the prison just to get more information on the case. These lawyers now started looking into the case. And on looking into the case, they were like, but this thing happened in Asaba. Like, why were you brought to Lagos? What is the business of Lagos in an Asaba case? So there was a jurisdiction issue there. So they presented the case before a court, and the court was like, oh, this case needed to be transferred back to Asaba because the crime was not committed in, the Lagos jurisdiction. So the case was then transferred from Lagos back to Asaba. And the judge also ordered for a reinvestigation on his case. So Harrison said he and the suspects, that's the guy that actually committed the crime, the both of them were transferred back to Asaba. And they were remanded at the Ogwashuku prison. They were also charged to court, or he was also charged to court. He was at the Ogwashuku prison from 2013 to 2015. On the 30th of November 2015, Harrison went to court as usual with his lawyers. That was the day that changed everything for him. That was the day that his life changed. That was the day that hope was brought back into his life. That was the day that he was discharged and acquitted. And the reason was that the prosecutors, or from the prosecution end, they were never present at court. They were never present for any of the hearings, and there was lack of evidence actually to show that Harrison actually committed any of these crimes. And when the judge looked at the case, he was like, these people seem not to be interested in this case anymore. They do not appear in court, and they have not even provided any evidence to show that Harrison, actually committed this crime. And because of, lack of evidence, the judge actually discharged and acquitted Harrison, and he became a free man on that day. And that, my dear friends, is the story of how Harrison went to prison for 4 years and was proven innocent of this crime. After he came out of prison, he went on to start his foundation that I spoke about earlier. That's the Behind Bars Human Rights foundation, because he said whilst he was in prison, he actually saw that there were so many other people that had the same type of story that he had, people that were put in prison awaiting trial for so many years, so many years, for crimes that they did not commit. They seem to have been forgotten, just wasting their time whiling away in prison, their lives taken away from them, their livelihoods taken away from them. They just stayed in the prison waiting for their trial that seemed to never be coming. And he took it upon himself, to help people in this situation, because he had been there. He had seen what happened in prison. He had seen what people go through in those circumstances, in those situations. And he said he was going to make it his life mission to make sure that people get justice, innocent people get justice, and that people that were criminals went behind bars. And that was how he started his journey as a human rights activist, and now he's a known name in the country. You can't mention Harrison Gwamnishu and people will not know who he is. Yes, that is it. That is all that I have for you guys today. If you've watched this video up until this point, I feel like it's only befitting that you give this video a thumbs up, like the video. Let me just know your thoughts on today's episode. Do you think that it's fair that in Nigeria a lot of people are being held in prison for crimes that they didn't commit, even when a suspect had already identified that this person was innocent, he had nothing to do with him, he was still imprisoned for 4 years? Do you think that is fair? What do you think about the justice system in Nigeria? Let me know your thoughts and your comments in the comment section. If you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please just click on that subscribe button now, so that you can encourage me to bring more stories like this for you guys. Pleasure and entertainment and learning as well. Please stay safe and stay informed, and until my next video, bye.